every hour. Twitch Prime is, of course, free as long as you have an Amazon Prime account connected to your Twitch account. Okay, stop trying to invoke Article 5 on me. Or you can get gifted a sub, which is like Javelin missiles gifted to you by America, Oilers. Here's the 1 minute ad break now.
This is what happens after the declaration, because the declaring power must be willing to enforce it. If Russian jets decide to ignore the demand and continue their operations, then it means that NATO and American jets must fly in and engage them, potentially resulting in aerial battles between American and Russian pilots, with the high chance for casualties taking place on either side. In the past 30 years, America and its allies have declared 4 of these no-fly zones with various results. A northern and southern no-fly zone in Iraq leading up to the Gulf War, and
All Trans, thank you for the 10 gift the subs. Jada Jago, thank you for the 4 gift the subs.
the 2003 US invasion, a no-fly zone over Bosnia in the mid-1990s, and another over Libya in 2011. In each of these cases, the United States utilized its vastly superior air force and conventional military capabilities to enforce its will in the skies against opponents who could offer up little resistance. Saddam's Iraq, the Republika Srpska proto-state in Bosnia, and the Serbian government, and Gaddafi's Libya. In the most recent no-fly zone that was declared over Libya back in 2011, American and NATO warplanes managed to
I heard you hate gays, is that true? Totally.
completely
100%.
alter the course of the entire Libyan civil war that was going on against Gaddafi by denying his forces any access to the skies.
Dude, can you think about a more like fucked up thing than telling another nation state they can't fly their own fucking aircrafts against like rebel forces that they're trying to fucking stop? How crazy is that? Like China comes in. Imagine a world in which like, you know, January 6th was actually not police officers like allowing these psychos to come in and break into like the halls of Congress. And instead, like they were just like murdering politicians and shit. And the American police force was, and the American military was like trying to stop that from happening. And then China's like, no, you can't do that. We're going to blow you up. And they did. The Chinese Air Force came in and like blew up the American Air Force. That's what's going on in Libya. That was totally appropriate, by the way. The Serbs were killing and raping Muslims. Yeah, I know, bitch. I know. Shut the fuck up. I know. Why are they in Libya? Are the Serbs killing and raping Muslims in Libya? Is that what you're talking about right now? Because that's not what I'm talking about. Why did you bring that up here? And even then, there were a million different fucking diplomatic options that could have been exercised that, you know, that we failed to do so and then went for the fucking final option there.
And bombing his strategic positions on the ground.
I hate this. So a no-fly zone in Serbia was unjustified as well. I mean, there were fucking unjustifiable bombing campaigns in the process of that. Okay, there were. Like, it's true. As much as I, you know, yearn for a Titoist Yugoslavia, okay? It's so fucking annoying that people constantly, you know, throw this out as like, yo, there's no other way. They had to kill like fucking people broadcasting on the television station. Like it had to be done. They had to drop like a metric ton of fucking bombs. You were giving into the Balkan posting. I know. Jesus Christ. You're messing Balkan people's business. Back off.
And NATO didn't lose a single plane throughout that entire operation because they were overwhelmingly more powerful. But a no-fly zone over Ukraine would be inherently different from all of these because Russia possesses far, far more capabilities to
and nukes, motherfucker. It's not Libya. They got
retaliate
nukes
than any other target of an American no-fly zone has before. Despite Russia's military setbacks in Ukraine, the Russian armed forces are generally still considered to be the second most powerful in the world behind the United States, with the second highest number of ballistic missile submarines in service, and one of only 3 militaries worldwide that operate strategic bombers. But the greatest military asset that Russia possesses that none of those other regimes in the past did is a lot of nuclear weapons. In fact, Russia has at its disposal the single largest nuclear arsenal in the world, with approximately 6,000 total warheads. For the sake of comparison, the United States has only around 4,000 warheads, and of all the nuclear weapons in the world combined, Russia owns nearly half of them. Of critical importance to understand, however, these 6,000 warheads can be divided into two different categories: strategic arms and tactical arms. Strategic nuclear arms are the big, scary ICBMs that you usually think about from the movies that fly on top of a missile fired from a silo or a submarine that are powerful enough to destroy an entire city. The point of strategic nuclear weapons like these, though, is to never actually use them. They're only there for deterrence, to dissuade the enemy from ever being tempted into using theirs, and thus they guarantee mutually assured destruction if one side ever deploys them. From the perspective of the Kremlin, however, tactical nuclear arms are viewed very differently. These are significantly less powerful and destructive nuclear weapons, with only a
But like, okay, there's no shot he's just saying like tactical nukes are significantly less destructive without mentioning that like it's still like 100x what happened in the at the fucking grain depot in like Beirut, for example. You know what I mean? Like baby nukes are still, you know, they're not bitch made, okay? They're
fraction of the power of the bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima, that can be fired from artillery, rocket launchers, or even planes onto a battlefield. They are explicitly designed to be used as a more restrained or limited option by an army to meet battlefield objectives, and critically, the Russian military defense doctrine currently approves of their use in the armed forces under certain conditions, like covering a major retreat operation. Out of Russia's total arsenal of 6,000 nuclear warheads, it's believed that around 2,000 of them are these kinds of smaller tactical nukes. And the centerpiece of this Russian strategy of battlefield nuclear deterrence is the Iskander-M, a mobile missile launcher that can fire either conventional or tactical nuclear warheads at a range of roughly 5.
Damn, this guy's such a fucking, you know, white American Bernie bro with these takes talking about like Russia's nuclear capabilities from a point that is like actually understanding and technical and like descriptive, rather than just simply talking about how, you know, nuclear war wouldn't be all that bad. That's crazy. He must be pro-Russia, I think, probably, right?
500 kilometers. And prior to the invasion of Ukraine, satellite images revealed these exact Iskander missile batteries deployed by Russia inside of Belarus with unknown payloads, but with the range to strike nearly every major target inside of Ukraine. This doomsday arsenal must be taken into consideration when deciding on a no-fly zone over Ukraine, because sending in NATO and American jets to shoot down Russian planes who violate the no-fly
He must not have the nuance that only a European would be able to have on nuclear holocaust.
zone would only really be the beginning of the operation. In order to keep their own planes safe, a no-fly zone would also likely entail NATO airstrikes on Russian air defense and support targets down on the ground, like airfields, surface-to-air missile or SAM batteries, and radar facilities. However, not all of these targets would be limited to the ground within Ukraine. Some of Russia's more advanced SAM batteries, like the S-400, have a range of 400 kilometers, meaning that they could cover wide swaths of Ukrainian airspace from behind the borders inside of Russia or Belarus. Neutralizing them would necessitate bombing targets on the ground inside of Russia or Belarus.
The guy who said recently nuclear war wouldn't be too bad was Adam something. Which his supporters now claim I hate like Hungarians or something. I don't know what the fuck they're saying. Like that's the new meta, is that like I despise Hungarians or some shit.
Itself. And thus, it shouldn't really come as any surprise then that